Hey guys, today I'm going to be reacting to a video called Top 25 Places to Visit in France Travel Guide. Let's check it out.
Guys, my name is Ryan and I recently returned from traveling around France and I want to share with you my favorite places. So here's my France Top 25.
Okay, that looks incredible. Is that a river? What is that?
After visiting France, it's easy to see why it's the most visited country in the world. It's home to endless history, enchanting towns, from the towering Alps to the chic French Riviera.
They have everything.
France is waiting to be experienced. Let's start this video off at Etretat, located about a 3 hours drive from Paris. This was the first place I went to when I got to France. The main reason I wanted to come here was to witness the impressive sea cliffs. When we reached Etretat, we walked through the beautiful coastal town and arrived at the beach. It had this nice pebblestone sand and you could get a view of the cliffs. I mean, they were freaking huge, a lot bigger than I expected. Now, after we decided to walk on top of the cliffs, we strolled along the beautiful boardwalk and made it to the top. My favorite features of the cliffs are the sea arches. There are 3 of them, and I also like the pointed sea stack called L'Aiguille. After a bit, sea fog started to roll in and gave the area such a different feel. It was just so much fun being on top of those cliffs. If you can, I recommend staying until sunset. The sun will hit the cliffs perfectly, lighting them up with the orange glow. Afterwards, we're going to visit the island of Corsica. Located right above the island of Sardinia, Corsica is this massive island full of so many diverse landscapes. It's home to jagged mountains and some of France's best coastline. Now, one of my favorite spots on the island is Bonifacio. It's this medieval town built upon these limestone cliffs. It's nicknamed the Mediterranean Sentinel. Now, it's located right in the most southern point of the island. Nearby, there are some more incredible white cliffs with crystal clear waters. Another one of my favorite spots in Corsica is the Clonx de Piana. There are these sharp red cliffs that dive into the sea. They have such a distinct color, and there's a windy road that drives right through them.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
There's also some incredible beaches in the area, such as Plague de Busaglia. Afterwards, we're going to visit the French Alps. Now, this is easily one of my favorite regions in all of France. It's home to the incredibly massive Mont Blanc, which is the highest mountain in all the Alps at 4,807 meters. Mont Blanc doesn't have the most prominent peak compared to other mountains, but it's just hard to comprehend how huge this mountain is. Now, the town located at the base of Mont Blanc is Chamonix. It's a hub for some of Europe's best skiing and hikes. I really enjoyed walking around the town. It reminded me of a French Zermatt. Now, one thing you gotta do while you're there is take the gondola to L'Aiguille du Midi. Now, to get there, you can take a 20-minute cable car ride, which holds the world record for the highest vertical ascent by a cable car, with an altitude gain of over 2,807 meters. It costs about 69 euros for a round-trip ticket to the top. Now, while I was there, it was extremely packed. I think there was like some holiday going on, so just plan accordingly. You'll take 2 lifts up.
I'm guessing it gets packed all the time.
Now, when you reach the top, you'll be at an elevation of 3,843 meters. You can definitely feel the shortness of oxygen in your lungs. When you get off the lift, you'll walk through this labyrinth of tunnels carved straight out of the granite. There's tons of walkways and platforms to explore. You'll get an excellent view of Mont Blanc and the other mountains. Now, one thing I thought was crazy is that there's a place where the mountaineers exit to either go hike to Mont Blanc or just explore the glacier. L'Aiguille du Midi was such an incredible
that's for the most adventurous
definitely the highlight of our time in the French Alps. Now, when you get back to Chamonix, another thing you can do is take the train to Mer de Glace. You can get a Mont Blanc multipass for about 83 euros. This will both let you take the train and the lift to L'Aiguille du Midi. Now, the train winds up the mountain and you get some great views along the way. Sit on the left-hand side, get the best views. Now, when you reach the top, you'll be able to see the Mer de Glace. It's the second largest glacier in all of Europe. I mean, what's sad is when you look at pictures of over 150 years ago, and you see how much this glacier has shrunk. Regardless, the whole area is breathtaking. You'll get views of the surrounding mountains. They're just like so jagged. I've never seen anything like them. There's also a restaurant and hotel up top. Afterwards, we're going to visit the nearby city of Annecy. Now, located at the foot of the Alps, about an hour's drive from Chamonix, this alpine town is famous for its canals, hence it's called the Venice of the Alps. Now the city is just absolutely magical.
That water is
but
very
what I
blue.
love about the region is the Lake Anzi. It's surrounded by scenic mountains and it's known as one of the cleanest lakes in all of Europe. I mean, I can't think of a better place to enjoy
Because
on a
it has
hot
glacier
summer day.
water.
One of the crowning features of the area is the Chateau de Menthon Saint Bernard. The first fortress was built here around 1,000 years ago, and today it stands
Is that
as
at the
one of the
flag
most
of
impressive
Switzerland?
castles in all the Alps. We decided to explore it. It cost about 11 euros to enter. I was just astonished by the size of it and how well the castle was preserved. There was a massive
It is,
courtyard
yeah.
with perfectly laid stones. The chateau's interior was just as impressive.
Oh my
It's
God,
just
you feel
wild
like you're
that
traveling back in
people
time.
lived in such luxury hundreds of years ago. I mean, I can't imagine what it must have been like to live there back then. After the Alps, we're going to head over to the Alsace region, now
Oh, no,
located
you're-
in
it's
eastern
Switzerland,
France,
right?
bordering Germany and Switzerland. The
Yeah.
Alsace region is famous for its fairy tale cities, wine country, and rich history. Over
they
the
also have
centuries, the
wine?
region has alternated between French and German control, and today it represents a mix of those cultures. The capital of Alsace is Strasbourg. It's home to the formal seat of the European Parliament. Another enchanting city in the region is Colmar. If you want to escape the cities, you can experience the
I thought it was
Alsace
winery.
wine route.
Yeah.
It's a 170-kilometer long route that passes through some of
that's
France's
big.
greatest wine country and picturesque towns. One of my favorites is the quaint village of Riquevier. It's believed to be the village that inspired the town from Beauty and the Beast. Even if you don't drink wine
Oh
like
my
me,
God.
it's impossible to not fall in love with this region of France. After, we're going to France's capital of Paris.
Okay, yeah, obviously,
Since the
it's gotta be on any
17th
list.
century, Paris has been Europe's major center of finance,
That car was so
diplomacy,
scary to
fashion,
me.
and the arts. Paris is one of the world's most visited cities, and with all its attractions and fascinating history, it's easy to see why. Paris's most recognizable attraction is the Eiffel Tower.
Of
It
course.
was built in 1889 for the World Fair. The Eiffel Tower is 324 meter high, which made it the tallest man-made structure in the world until 1930. Another popular
It lasts
attraction
quite a
is
bit,
the
actually.
Louvre Museum. It's the world's largest art museum and it's home to Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. You can also take a drive around the Arc de Triomphe or walk the grounds of the Palace of Versailles.
I love this.
And there's
It's
just so much to
gorgeous.
see in this grand city. Now after, we're going to visit the Loire Valley. Now located in central France, about a 2 hours drive from Paris, this has
Oh,
to be the
again, a short
chateau
drive.
capital of the world. It's home to over 300 French castles. Now if you're wondering why
Oh my
there are
God.
so many chateaus here, it's
Where
because
all
of
the
the
rich people
combination
live?
of location, fertile grounds, and the competition amongst kings and royals that brought so many castles here. One of the
Okay,
most
yeah, I was
famous
expecting
chateaus
something
is
like that.
Chambord. It's the largest in the valley, and its estate is as big as Paris. It's rumored that Leonardo da
looks
Vinci helped
magical.
design it. It took over 28 years to build and was finished in 1547. Now from
God,
above, you can see
1500?
its perfectly square moat that was built to protect the castle. It's truly a mind-blowing piece of architecture. Now another one of my favorites is the Chateau de Chenonceau.
Look, that would look
built
so
in the early
weird.
16th century. What's wild about this chateau is it's built upon a river. I mean,
Oh,
I
no,
love
yeah,
all the
water.
arches. It's definitely one of the most beautiful buildings
boats are
in all of
going
France.
underneath.
After, we're going to head down to southern France to the French Riviera.
Oh my
located
God,
on the
okay.
southeast corner of France. I have to say that the French Riviera is home to some of the world's best coastline. One stunning city
It's
on
so
the
beautiful.
French Riviera is Menton. It's strikingly beautiful with its colorful buildings complemented with a backdrop of the Maritime Alps. We stayed several days here and I really enjoyed just walking around the city. Menton was a part of Italy until 1860 when it and the rest
Oh.
of Nice County was added to France. There's a great
Like
boardwalk
Corsica.
that walks along the coast, and I really enjoyed going out to the lighthouse pier to get panoramic views of Menton. Now afterwards, we're going to visit the medieval town of Ez. Now located on a hilltop tower looking over
I
the
love
French
this.
Riviera,
It's like
I have
an-
to say
an
this
actual
was
hill.
easily the coolest medieval place I visited in
Yeah.
my time in southern France. It was only a
So
short
beautiful.
30-minute drive from Menton. Now Ez was founded during the Middle Ages around the 14th century, and today is known
So old.
worldwide for its medieval vibe and views of the French Riviera. When we were there, we parked in a parking lot at the base of Ez and then walked up the winding stairs and cobblestone path.
Okay, yes,
to
so
the
there-
village.
obviously there's no
I mean,
cars
you really
on
feel
top.
like you're walking back in time. Everything is so old, yet it's perfectly preserved, and the village is just full of like these tunnel walkways and trees that were just built around. Truly is such a cool place. Now, one
Oh
of the
God,
main
its first one
features
was
of the
so much
village is
shade.
the exotic garden. It's this beautiful place that sits on top of the village. It not
Garden?
only has beautiful plants and cactuses,
Oh.
but it offers one of the best views of the French Riviera. It's definitely worth the
Oh my
hike
God.
and €6 entry fee. Now, afterwards, we're going
Absolutely.
to head over to Nice. Now, as the capital of the Maritime Alps department of France, Nice is the second largest city on the French Riviera after Marseille. Now, if you're flying to the French Riviera, this is probably the best airport to come to. I didn't really spend any much time here.
That's true.
I didn't really feel like walking around the city, but I do
Okay.
regret not checking out. So if you're in the French Riviera, you definitely can give Nice
Yeah,
a visit.
why
Now,
wouldn't
another
you?
prominent nearby resort town is Cannes. Now, it's
Of
located
course.
about 40 minutes drive from Nice. Like many places along the French Riviera, Cannes is associated with the rich and famous and hosts the annual Cannes Film Festival. Now, just outside of Cannes is some of the most beautiful coastline on the French Riviera.
That water
It's
looks
called the
incredible.
Esterel, and it's these red rock cliffs that dive into the sea. Now, I was
Why are
talking
they
to a
so
local
red?
on the beach, and he told me that this was his favorite place on the Riviera, so I had to go check it out. The
Of
coastline is
course.
part of the Esterel Massif, and it stretches from Cannes to San Rafael. Now, it's full of hidden
Oh.
coves, red rock islands, and secluded beaches. I love just driving along the coastline and parking in its many lookout points and just exploring the coast. I highly
Yeah,
recommend
take a
visiting.
swim.
Now,
Looks
one really
incredible.
cool place I visited in the area is Cap du
What is
Tremont.
that?
Now, the reason I wanted to go here is because there's this little island with a medieval-looking watchtower on it. It was constructed in the 20th century, and it's believed to be the inspiration
that
behind
old.
the Black Island in the Adventures of Tintin. And it just looks so scenic, coupled with the red coastline. I mean, there's a really nice beach there, and the water is perfect for freediving. Such
Oh
an
my
enjoyable
God,
place.
okay.
Now, afterwards, we're going to visit the town of Saint-Tropez.
Oh
Now,
my
this
God,
is one of
okay.
my favorite towns I
Another
visited on the
rich
French
town.
Riviera. Saint-Tropez is located about an hour and a half drive from Nice. Now, Saint-Tropez grew as a fishing village and military stronghold until the 20th
That's how it
century.
started?
And it was the first town to be liberated on the French Riviera during World War II. In the 1960s, Saint-Tropez started gaining popularity amongst jet setters, and today it's renowned for its beaches, nightlife, and yachts. Now, the main part of Saint-Tropez is pretty small, but I love just walking around its
Oh, it's
streets
very
and
pretty.
alleyways. There was this path that walks along the coast, and it was just
Oh,
really
it's
nice
gorgeous.
to explore. All in all, Saint-Tropez is a really beautiful town, and I understand why it's so popular. Now, afterwards, we're going to visit Cassis. Now, I think this was my favorite place we visited in southern France. We stayed several days here.
Really?
I'm just so glad we did. It's a seaside town
That
with
ocean.
classic
I wanna swim in
French
there.
chic charm. Now, Cassis is overlooked by Cap Canaille, which is home to the highest sea cliffs in all of France with a height of 394 meters. Now, there's a great beach in
Okay.
Cassis, overlooked by a castle. I mean, I just love walking around the harbor, looking at all the boats. You can also walk to the lighthouse at the end of the harbor to just relax and enjoy the sounds of the sea. Now, one of the
That
main reasons
ocean
I
looks
wanted to go to
incredible.
Cassis and just southern France in general was to visit the Calanques. Now,
What
they
is
are these
that?
incredible sea coves surrounded by daunting cliffs and crystal clear
Okay.
waters. The one I really wanted to go to is Calanque d'Anvou. Hope I said that right. Now, there's several ways to get here. You can either take a boat,
By boat?
kayak, or hike in.
Yeah.
Now, on our first day there, we rented a little boat from the harbor in Cassis and headed out to the Calanques. Now, the views on the way were just absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
now,
incredible.
one downside about the boat is we couldn't land on the beach. You can only drive like halfway through, and then it's roped off. But if you do
Couldn't you
rent a
just swim?
kayak or a paddleboard, you can take it to the beach, which I definitely recommend if you can
Yeah.
handle the long paddle. Now, we went in as far as we could in the Calanque and then turned around after we just kept exploring the coastline, heading west as we relaxed in this other Calanque with some just really
Yeah, but you had to
cliffs
swim in
and rock
there.
formations. It was such a phenomenal area. Now, the next day, I really wanted to go to the beach in the Calanque d'Anvou,
Yeah.
so we decided to do a hike. Now, the hike was about 7 kilometers long, and it had this one steep descent to get down to the beach. Nothing you can't handle. Now, once
Yeah,
we
those are
reached
like
the
the best
beach,
kind of
I mean, it
beaches.
was really an amazing sight. The steep white cliffs, coupled with the greens of the pines and blues
It's
of the
incredible.
water, were just amazing. Now, the beach was a decent size with a lot
but
of
it's
smooth
packed.
pebbles. We went for a swim, and the water was just so freaking
So
clear.
blue. Yeah,
I wanted
so
to find a
blue.
cliff jump spot, so after swimming down the cove, I found this rock about 7 meters high and did a few jumps off of it.
Okay, that's
I mean, there's
tall.
truly no better feeling than cliff jumping into the Mediterranean. Definitely was one of my favorite places we went, and a perfect place to end our time on the Côte d'Azur. While we're still in southern France, we're going to visit the Verdun Gorge. Now, located
a
about
gorge, I
2 hours
assume.
drive from Nice, the Verdun Gorge is one of the most impressive canyons in all of France. Now, one of my favorite places in the gorge is the view from Pont du Caletas. You get a view of the dramatic cliffs contrasted with the strikingly blue water. Now, while
God,
you're there,
yeah,
you can
there's
rent a
a
boat or
road.
paddleboard and explore the gorge. You can also drive on top and get some more phenomenal views. After, let's head over to the medieval fortress of Carcassonne. Now, when I imagine medieval Europe, I don't think there's
That's
a
what I
better
imagine.
place that exemplifies it better than this
I
fortified
imagine
city.
this.
Located in southern France, Carcassonne began as a Roman fortified hilltop and was given to the Visigoths in the
That's
5th
so
century, who continued to fortify
even
and
older than I
build the
thought.
city. Throughout the centuries, Carcassonne proved to be an impregnable fortress as army after army failed to overtake the protected city. Today, the city consists of 53 towers that are protected by its 2 outer walls. It remains
That's
as
a lot
one
of
of Europe's
towers.
greatest medieval gems. Afterwards, we're going to head over to the Pyrenees Mountains.
Oh.
Now, straddling both France and Spain, the Pyrenees
Yeah.
are a mountain range that separates
This is
the
incredible.
Iberian Peninsula from the rest of Europe. Now, one of the most impressive places in the Pyrenees is the Cirque du Gaverny. It's this dramatic glacial bowl
It's
with
stunning.
waterfalls descending its cliffs. Another cool place is Lac des Ayeux. It's a nice
God.
2-hour hike to the lake and has incredible views of the mountains.
It looks like a
After,
painting.
we're going to visit the region of Brittany. Now, located on the northwestern tip of France, Brittany is full of rugged beaches and countless lighthouses. One thing that is particularly
different
fascinating
beaches.
about Brittany is its presence of megalithic monuments. There are thousands of stones
Really?
scattered around the region, ranging from ancient tombs to single-standing stones that were
Oh my God,
arranged by
like the
Neolithic
Great
people
Britain.
over 7,000 years ago. I mean, it's just pretty interesting if you ask me. Now, aside
Yeah.
from the ancient megaliths, Brittany is home to some stunning coastal towns. One of my favorites is Le Conquet. It's an ideal maritime city with a picturesque harbor. One of the highlights of the area is the Kermovan Lighthouse. I mean,
it's a
just such a
lighthouse.
beautiful setting. Now, for our final destination, we're going to visit Mont Saint-Michel. I have to say this was probably my favorite place I visited in France.
Stunning.
This place was just truly magical. Now to get there, it's a 4-hour drive from Paris. When we arrived, we checked into our Airbnb and made the long walk to Mont Saint-Michel.
Yeah,
Now,
how
you
long
can't
is the
drive
whole walk, is
directly
it?
to the tidal island. Instead, you can park in the parking lots outside and either take a shuttle or walk about 4 kilometers. Now I definitely recommend walking
not that
if you
long.
can. As you approach the
Yeah.
island, it's quite the experience. And it just made me think of how the people must have felt throughout the ages as they came.
Yeah,
I mean,
when
just
they were-
truly
yeah, when they were going
something out of
there.
a fantasy film. Now, when you reach the island and walk through the gates, you feel like you're walking into a Harry
It's
Potter movie.
gated.
It was as if I was walking down Diagon Alley. Now, we had such a good time walking through the winding alleyways and marveling at all the details. The Abbey is the crowning feature of the island. Its construction began in the 10th century and was added onto throughout the ages. Now, due to its strategic position and dangerous changing tides, the Abbey and the rest of the island remained protected throughout history. Now, around
Yeah, it's
sunset,
good.
the tide started to come in. I was amazed by how fast the water levels were rising.
my God,
I mean, I
yes,
understand
it
now
rises so
why it
fast.
was so dangerous for the medieval pilgrims to walk to the island. Now, on our way back, we met up with some
Oh
sheep
my
in the
God.
fields, and it truly was a special experience and one of my favorite memories from my time in France.
Wow.
The next day, we woke up to see Mont Saint-Michel for sunrise. On our way back, we ran into a herd of sheep storming through the streets on their way to eat some morning grass.
Okay, that's
And it definitely
amazing.
was the perfect way to end our time at Mont
What a
Saint-Michel.
highlight.
Well, that is it for my France top 25. I'm barely scratching the surface, so be expecting a part 2 coming soon. Let me know where
my
your
God, there's
favorite
so many
places
things.
in the comments below. I also started a Spanish channel. If you prefer to watch my videos in Espanol, I did a video on France you might enjoy. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at shirley.films. It's Ryan, and we will see you later.
Okay, so yeah, this was amazing. I like there's like so many things, and he was still like there's like a part 2 because there's like so many things. And yes, I have to say there are so many places I wasn't expecting. Like so many cliffs. I don't know because I maybe associate cliffs with more like Ireland and probably like England as well. But just more like I think it's more like and even I think maybe Scotland, but I think it's more like an Irish thing. And so I'm surprised by the amount of cliffs that there are in France. I didn't know that they had so many and they were so famous, so beautiful, so pretty, but it was quite surprising to me. I also have to say, like, I do love the fact that there's like different kind of beaches because it's like you really, and you can really do, I love these clips because you can really do tell and you can really do see the difference between like the beaches that are in the southern French Riviera, and then the beaches that are on top at the north near in Brittany. I think it was the Brittany region, and you can really do see the difference. And it's so funny because it's like, oh my god, it's the same country. But I think when you're thinking, oh, I want to go to the beach in France, and you're like, well, you have a lot of options depending on what you like and what you're looking for, and what kind of like beach vibe you want, what kind of vibe you need. Because in the French Riviera, I think it's more of a as a traditional maybe beach. Like I'm imagining just, you know, people in their swimsuits, and there's like a lot of sun, and the weather is nice, and you can just like swim in the beach, and it's all like a more traditional kind of beach. But in the Brittany region, like there's more of a, I don't know, like a boardwalks, you have harbors, like you have more of that kind of like beach situation, but not that much of like, oh, I'm in my yacht in my swimsuit. Like it's not really that type of beach. So I love the fact that there's like, you can really do see the stark difference between both of them, because the vibe is quite like, it's not the same at all. So you really do have a lot of options, and how great that they're all in France. So I love that on one hand. But there's also like, I think that the one, but maybe I don't know, because the French Riviera, like it's so incredible. I love all those cliffs and all those gorges and all of that. But I have to say, like, I think it's Calanque, like that was incredible. I would love to go there. Like the water is so clear, so blue, so green. It's quite stunning. I think it's quite sad that it was one of them. I can't remember it was Calanque or it was the other one or another of them. That it's so sad that it's like you can go there by boat, but like just, you know, boats are great because you can really do see like the coastline of some particular area, the beaches as well. But you can't really, like, obviously you can't actually go there, and you can't swim in the beach. So you really do have to, like, you have to take a couple of days. Because I was thinking, well, unless, like, I don't know if that's done, like, you can just maybe hire a boat and they can, like, drop you off at, like, well, we can just, you know, we can drop you off here. And then you just, like, swim. You're like, okay, well, I'll swim. You'll swim to the beach. And then, like, can you pick me up at, like, 1 p.m.? Or maybe you'll say, whatever, I'll just hike my way to, you know, to civilization, like on the other route. Maybe it's something like that. I think that would be maybe I don't know, maybe that's done, or maybe that can be done. I don't know how feasible it would be, but I think that would be an idea. Just because it looks like, or just hike all the way. But I think, you know, the hiking, I love all those beaches that you really have to like hike because they're like so hidden. That is just like, those are actually, I think that those are probably, well, not always, but usually those are like the best kind of beaches, because I think they're like pretty hidden and there's like something very special about them. It looks like you're like, oh, it's a secret and I'm discovering because I'm like, I had to hike here. So it is kind of like, they're special in that way. But obviously, you know, when you're like on a boat, like you can really, again, you can see and appreciate like the coastline, so it's a little bit different. But I have to say, like, I don't know, I want the hike. I don't know. Obviously the Saint-Tropez, like, is one of the most famous, I think, cities in France, and obviously like it's incredible. I didn't know that they had like a weird looking like lighthouse tower situation that apparently, but it's like, okay, it's a little bit newer than I thought. It's not that old. However, like if you were looking for old things, like there's like this little, like the whole fortified city town, I don't even know what to call it. It was like from the 1500s. That's crazy. And also, like, not even that, but it was like built by Romans, which is like, okay, that like that, if you think about like how old it is, like it was built by Romans. It was like, okay, that's so old that I can't even imagine like how it is, like, and how actually how they have preserved all of that. And there was like another town that I can't remember, but I think it was the one that is up on the hill. And there was also like a medieval town, and it's like how, and they were like, it's incredibly well preserved. Like all the stones all the tunnels are well, like they're still like standing. They're in good condition. I don't even know, like, how do you even manage that? How they managed to preserve all of that stone and all those cities for that amount of time? Is it like a weather thing? Do they require special care? And also, like, with the amount of tourists that they get, how do they still, like, I don't know, like, it's crazy to me, like, how do they still manage to, like, preserve this whole situation? I don't know, it's like, I can't, please someone explain it to me. And lastly, I have to say, what a nice surprise, I didn't really know that in Brittany, like, the region, they had like so many like monoliths. I had no idea, but it makes sense because obviously it was the same people that, well, I'm guessing, you know, just going by, I don't know, but I'm thinking that obviously, because obviously it's called Brittany, as in like Britain, Great Britain, and it was the same people that also like built. I don't know what people built this, what ancient civilization like built the monoliths in that are in Great Britain. And I'm guessing they were like the same people that also like build this ones, and there's a lot of them. So I had no idea they were almost famous for it. I think maybe that's the thing. I think they're less known than the ones in Great Britain, in England, but obviously like I'm guessing they were the same because they were the same civilization, they were the same people, because it's actually not that far. So it is like quite lovely. And also I have to say that the sort of like the landscape in Brittany, it resembled quite a bit to England. So it is like, oh, it's of course because it's the same area, but it's so funny that it's a whole different country. But this was incredible. I thought it was an incredible mix between, again, like the city and all of France, because it has like so much to offer. And I think it was incredible. And it was like even that, and there's like a part two, like, yes, because France is huge, it has so many things to offer that you can really do. No, like I can understand completely like why France is probably like it's the most visited country like with tourists like in the world, because it's like, yes, it has so many things. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.